think I'm ready here. So I'm kind of in different place. I know it's not my table. So, but I'm here for you guys. We're gonna be theorizing about Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, and Liv Morgan. I don't know if I meant. I don't know if I said Bronson Reed before, but if I did, then yes. So how about we just jump right into it because it's been a long time. You were supposed to get it last week. I had to pack and get ready, so I'm here today. I like this little setup here. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, so we're going to talk about how Damian Priest, NXT superstar, main roster, jump. He was great. He was inspired by the likes of Kane and big men, that's why he has a choke slam. And he has a great move set, and I love, his ability in the ring, his awareness, and I can't wait to see him go up against Sheamus for the United States Championship, at SummerSlam. So that'll be great to see. I want to talk about the feud between him and The Miz, though. You know, as much as I wanted to talk about from his jump from NXT to here, The Miz and him feuding at Backlash. Before making the prediction during my Backlash, I wanted to go with The Miz originally. And the reason for The Miz, going with The Miz was because of, just a WrestleMania, I guess, Backlash. Of course, Damian Priest and Bad Bunny won at WrestleMania, so why not give The Miz a win here? And then I thought about it more, and I said, you know what? They're going to give Damian Priest the win, or they're going to do something, but the match was stupid at Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash, between him and The Miz. So the real theory is why they do that. The real theory should be why WWE decided to do that. I theorize that WWE did this just to promote the big movie Army of the Dead, which I did cover in one of my Talking Logic podcasts. Really good movie. Go see it. It's on Netflix, and they're coming out with another one. I think Zack Snyder's doing another film like that, starring the German guy who was in there, the hack. So that'll be pretty cool to see. But I don't know why Damian Priest, The Miz, I don't know why they decided to, I guess, do the match anyway with the zombies. It felt very boring and stupid. But my theory is that it was for the Army of the Dead. And I think everybody knows that it's true. But I think there's another theory to it too. I think the other theory could be that they wanted goofiness from Miz and Morrison. That's why you saw Morrison go over the barricade and, Miz end up in a wheelchair because zombies bit his legs or, kind of if Professor Xaviered him. But Damian Priest has moved on and he's on to better things, especially for the United States Championship. And I'm pretty proud that Damian Priest will be going for the United States Championship. Really happy. Hope he wins at SummerSlam once they make the match official. It's safe to say that will be a match, and it could likely be the kickoff match. And I would be perfectly fine with that. As long as Damian Priest and Sheamus put on an excellent performance. Sheamus can come up with the victory. As long as you make Damian Priest look good, I'm okay with Sheamus taking Damian Priest, done. I'd be perfectly fine with Sheamus, Damian Priest. I'd be fine with Sheamus, done with Damian Priest, moving on, That's all I got for Damian Priest, really. I now want to move forward and talk about Bronson Reed. There was something I was talking that happened way before, and it was his North American Championship. It was when he won it against Gargano and then held it for, I guess, maybe three weeks about, to then lose it to Isaiah Swerve Scott. So Isaiah Swerve Scott really, he won the title with just his boys helping him and with the kick to the face, but also the flip move he does. But why did they take the North American Championship off of him? The real question is, why did they take the North American Championship off of him? I don't know why they took it off of him, but my guess is just to, I guess, make him One, make Isaiah Swerve Scott be the next big person, or or put him up in the main event spot, like he had the match with Adam Cole. That was a great match. But I don't know. Or another theory could be they want to put him on the main roster. I think that's the theory. I think that theory right there is pretty great. I think that having him, up there with him could just be um up in the main roster could be nice. And speaking of main roster, I think I know exactly what I said. I think we're going to talk about our NXT champion. So how about I fit that in that video? I'll edit the whole title and thumbnail later. But I think I was supposed to do Karrion Kross. So I don't want to add him into this video to make it a little bit longer. But for Bronson Reed, I think it's to put him on the main roster. If it's not that theory, then my other theory has to be that they want to make him a main event guy on NXT. I still think he'll be moved during the draft when it comes about, but we still have to wait and see. Karrion Kross is the NXT champion. He's going to have a big match with Samoa Joe. I can't wait for it. It's been built up so much. I wish they had more prepping time for Samoa Joe and his, management work. I really loved it, especially when he came in right away. But I said this I think on Raw and NXT review. I said this. I said there's going to be a point where Joe's going to, take out a piece of paper, hand it to Regal, and he's going to allow it. I predicted that, and that came true. That happened. I said it would be like a medical paper, but it wasn't. It was actually a paper to be on the main roster. Karrion Kross is a dominant superstar, and he's been that way on NXT. He hits the main roster and loses to Jeff Hardy, someone who has not been utilized as much. So the real question here is, why did Karrion Kross lose to Hardy? Well, my theory suggests that they want to make Karrion Kross look little on Raw opposed to on NXT. On NXT, he's this big buff guy, and on Raw, he's hanging with the big leagues, hanging with the big boys, Jeff Hardy. I still think on that when he had his debut match, he should have won against Hardy. Hardy already got the crowd pumping because he got his No More Words theme song back when the crowd came back, so he had all that. He was doing all that. So it made more sense for Karrion Kross to beat Hardy than for Hardy to use some fucking desperate roll up, foot on the rope fucking pin. So they want to make Karrion Kross look little on Raw, opposed to being big on NXT. That's one theory. The second theory is what's the real theory, the trueness behind it. Vince McMahon does not respect or like NXT whatsoever. So what does he do? He goes and puts Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, on Raw, up against Hardy, who has not been utilized, or his talent's never been full potential. He's been old. He's faced his demons. I was gonna say he was drugged up, but he was faced his demons, and they just want to make him look like an idiot. Well, they kind of did the same thing by having Keith Lee beat him, but it did make sense because he did beat Keith Lee last week, and then this week, Keith Lee beat him. Pretty boring, ridiculous stuff, I know. But yeah, we did not need to see Karrion Kross lose to Hardy, someone who's not been utilized. If you wanted Karrion Kross to lose to anybody, we should have waited until NXT 36 to see him lose to Samoa Joe. Therefore, you can put Mr. Karrion Kross on Raw, keep him on Raw, and then have Samoa Joe run this place the way he runs it. He's the champion. He gets to do what he wants. He gets to do whatever, he gets to do whatever. And then the next opponent would be Mr. Adam Cole, baby. Because following through with the story, Samoa Joe has let everybody else, but he has had a hatred for Adam Cole. And it's Adam Cole's fault because Adam Cole kind of fucking did that. But you know what? Long story short, if anyone's to beat Karrion Kross, it's got to be none other than the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. Last but not least, we got to end off on Liv Morgan and her not winning the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Unfortunately, Liv Morgan was my top girl. My girl was supposed to win that women's Money in the Bank briefcase, and she didn't. But why? Why didn't she do it? Why did Nikki Cross or Nikki Ash, should be Nikki Hero, why did Nikki Ash win the Money in the Bank briefcase? Well, they wanted to skyrocket Nikki Cross to the top. And they built up Liv Morgan so well, but made her lose in the end. And now I have doubts that WWE really had nothing for her. And this was because WWE just wanted to keep Liv Morgan because everybody loves her. If it's not that, they would have let her go with Ruby Riott as well. Unfortunately. But here's what WWE did. I want to make sure you guys get in the mindset of WWE and why they release superstars and why, WWE releases superstars based off of many things. Could be frustrations in the back, like Ric Flair. He got released because of the frustrations of how he was being booked. They got rid of Bray Wyatt because they had nothing to do for him. They had nothing for him in the beginning. They already gave the powers to Alexa Bliss. There's nothing for him at all. So what did they do? They got rid of him. They had nothing for Andrade, even though I think that they should have had more for Andrade. They fucked up Aleister Black, trying to get him in a program with Big E, and then failed to do that after releasing him the next week. And then they get rid of, other superstars, but they get rid of Ruby Riott. And we were thinking like, oh, they're going to probably get rid of Liv Morgan. I'm like, no, please don't get rid of her. And they didn't. WWE kept Liv Morgan. But why did they keep Liv Morgan and get rid of Ruby Riott? They got rid of Ruby Riott because though she was in a tag team with Liv Morgan, they had nothing for Ruby Riott going forward. They were going nowhere. They were losing matches to the likes of fucking Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They were losing to the women. They were just losing. They were also losing to Tamina and Natalia, which they were supposed to be there too. So they weren't doing much. There weren't anything for them. There was nothing. But they kept Liv Morgan. It could be because she had a documentary. It could be all that. But she didn't. But they kept her because they had something for her. What is that something? What are they keeping Liv Morgan? Why are they keeping Liv Morgan? Everybody thinks it's the Money in the Bank briefcase. Well, that got shut down once fucking Nikki Ash won it. So what is it? Well, my theory suggests that they're keeping Liv Morgan to make her the future SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, I think that Liv Morgan should have came out and helped Bianca Belair. But they did it so well with Sasha Banks returning and then having her hit the backstabber on Bianca Belair. That is great storytelling. That is what we need for SummerSlam. Then in the pay-per-views to come next, Liv Morgan needs to, prove herself. And she has time and time again. I think that they're going to keep her on SmackDown. She'll have a mini feud with Sonya Deville. She'll probably prove to Sonya Deville that she's worthy to be in a championship opportunity. She will then get the SmackDown Women's title opportunity, and she will beat whoever the SmackDown Women's champion is. Could be Bianca Belair, could be anybody else. But everybody on Instagram, Twitter, they have expressed their feelings about Liv Morgan, and they were frustrated when she didn't win the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase. I was frustrated because she didn't win. I said, "What the fuck?" on this fucking channel. I literally said, "What the fuck?" because you gave it to Nikki Ash, and the only account for like shit you could have went with was like her wins over the champion and the opponent for the Raw Women's Championship. But the same thing could be said, well, not in the sense of the championship, but in the sense of getting wins over the superstars you put in the match. Carmella was supposed to be in the match. Liv Morgan took her out. And, there's that. Then you had Zelina Vega come back. She proved to Zelina Vega out. Then she gets put in again because Carmella is going to face the SmackDown Women's Champion. Like, if this is your way to, like, if you're pushing Liv Morgan by having her lose, it's sort of not working. They want to keep her around. The theory is that they're keeping her to make her the future SmackDown Women's Champion. And it's going to take time, but I think the best way to start it is keep her on SmackDown, have her feud for this year, towards the end of the year, of course, have her feud with Sonya Deville in management. That, that be the case, that she should have won the Money in the Bank briefcase, but because Sonya Deville kept, putting other women in and not her, it lessened her chances of winning, you know, lessened her confidence. So it's all Sonya Deville's fault, you know. So Sonya Deville comes out of, her, I guess, role as an official and becomes a wrestler, wrestles, she loses. Obviously, Sonya Deville will lose, so she can go back to management. Liv Morgan will prove her point right. Case dismissed. Liv Morgan will get a championship opportunity in the future. Could be. We could have to wait and see. I really think that they could set up Liv Morgan to be the champion at WrestleMania. That could be the choice. That could be. She could win the Royal Rumble. Like, let's not. We want to jump. We don't want to jump to conclusions. But I'm going to jump to conclusions and say that she should win the Royal Rumble. And then if you want it, then Big E already has the Money in the Bank briefcase, so like he doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble next year. You know what I mean? But Liv Morgan, she deserves to win the Royal Rumble next year. And that's who I'm going for. Straight up. Kind of like I did with Bianca Belair. I'm going Liv Morgan. Straight up. That's WWE Theories. I know it's pretty short. I went by through it quick. I'll have to edit everything here. But thank you guys so much for watching. It was so nice to have you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, comment down below. Turn on post notifications so you'll never miss a video. I will be back for the Talking Logic podcast. It's been Logical Predictor. Thanks for watching.